Okay.
It's crazy.
How do you get this idea? Like, this feels like something you woke up with, like, in a dream. Like, what? This is amazing.
It be God, he'll give you a piece, and it's like, God, why they hitting the monkey like that? They hitting the monkey because the monkey been through hit like you. And it's like God is just start unfolding stuff. For real. For real. For real. You start unpacking stuff. It's like, oh, write that down. For real.
I know your notes app is something only you can understand.
Oh, it's crazy. And I hate when I lose my phone because it's
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Do I Know You? You look gorgeous. I look gorgeous, which must mean it's going to be an amazing day. That must be what it means. Y'all, I'm literally jittery. I'm so excited to share this episode with you all. I just have to really thank God. Like, every single guest on this show ends up being, like, not only the perfect fit, but also my friend after. But, like, it has just been so incredible, and this is no different. So my guest this week is Gabriel Cannon. He is the most beautiful soul. He's so fun. He's witty. He's energetic. He's smart. And more importantly, he just won season 2 of Claim to Fame. And not only did he win, but he actually did it flawlessly, y'all. He did it flawlessly. So Gabriel's brother is Nick Cannon, who honestly needs no introduction, but I'm going to give you one anyways. So Nick Cannon, host, rapper, producer, like he literally does it all. I feel like I don't even know why I should be explaining him right now, but I'm going to continue. So he has Wildin' Out. He was the host of America's Got Talent for a little bit. I think right now he's doing Masked Singer. Like, he has his own production company. He's a radio host, a TV host. Like, he is literally, he's always in the news. Like, this man is everywhere. And I don't know Nick personally, but after meeting Gabriel, like, I can just tell their family is stellar. So Gabriel Cannon just won Claim to Fame, as I said. So Claim to Fame is basically a show that started, I think, last year. This is season 2. They just wrapped season 2. But it's where all these celebrity relatives have to, like, come on, and they, like, do different challenges and games to guess who each other's, like, relative is. And you almost have to go in with, like, a different identity sometimes. You, like, have to have a strategy. And Gabriel played it so strategically. Like, that's why he crushed it and won. And this season had a lot of drama. So y'all should definitely go watch it. But what a treat it is for Gabriel to join us today on Do I Know You? So I'm really, really excited. I'm going to shut up because we got into a lot of stuff and I want y'all to watch. So with that, please welcome Gabriel Cannon. Gabriel, hi. It's so nice to meet you.
what's happening? What's happening? We here. I'm so happy to be on your platform. I love the concept. I fit right in. So I appreciate you.
I'm so happy to have you. You do fit right in. I also, I read that you were a theater kid growing up. Is that true?
Absolutely, absolutely. When my brother was out here in Hollywood, I was back in Charlotte, North Carolina. So the best I could do was be in the theater, and I wanted to take it so serious because I wanted him to fly out and come to my plays. So I mean, I used to sleep in the theater waiting on the opening night and stuff. So yeah, I took it real serious as a kid for sure.
I love that because I grew up to be a theater kid, and I feel like the theater kid connection can transcend through the screen. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
What was your favorite show that you did? I'm curious.
Man, I did a show called The Bluest Eyes by Toni Morris.
Oh, I love Tony.
Right, right. I played Sammy, and there's a scene where he got to confront the daddy, and so for me, I had to, dig deep inside and man up. I think I was probably like 12.
Wow.
Yeah, to play that role. So that was a role that I really had to, take the craft of acting serious, and I fell in love with it with that role.
I love that. Okay, well, this totally makes sense that you were a theater kid because you just recently won Claim to Fame. So shout out to you. First of all, congratulations. I
Thank
love
you.
to see it.
Thank you.
Also,
Thank you.
by the way, I'm an avid like reality TV consumer. Can you tell me like what is the best and worst part of reality TV? Something that I would not know as just like a viewer.
I think the worst part of it for me in the type of reality show that I was on was leaving your real life. Like, you know what I mean? Whether it's family, whether it's work, like you got to really put your whole life to the side. And for me, the moments I thought about my real life, I almost like had panic attacks. You know what I'm saying? Because
Wow.
all of your other responsibilities and there's nothing you could do about it. So I almost had to remove myself from my real life and almost create this identity. Like I was my probably 23-year-old self in my mind when I was in that
Wow.
house. Like I had to be just to fit in, like just to be extra silly, just to, create those distractions and not care too much. But my grown man self was the one calculating, but the surface I had to be silly, goofy, all of that.
12-year-old you in the bluest eye like would have thanked you because it prepared you for this.
Absolutely. Absolutely, for sure.
That's so amazing. Okay, I want to talk about claim to fame a little bit before we dive into everything else. So, obviously, like everyone, the world, it's a phenomenal show. Everyone got to see like who you are as a person, like your fun side, your calculated side, like all the things. But before that, I imagine that people probably saw your last name, they saw Cannon, and immediately they formed perceptions about you. So I guess I'm curious, like, what were those perceptions and did they affect your life at all?
In my real life, the
Mm.
perception, I mean, you know how it goes. It's, I mean, they think your brother money is your money. And it's like, I give people an example. Imagine if I was trying to shoot a film, right? Like, and I got this great idea. And
Mm.
I actually have somebody who I could take this film to and who could take it to the next level for us because of the connections, and that's the double-edged sword. You have the connections, you could walk it in the doors. But if I try to get a team together and be like, hey y'all, let's do this film. I'm gonna need 2 days of your time. And it's like, we're gonna have to do it for free though. People gonna look at me like, man, you Nick Cannon, brother, man, you trying to play us, man. Like, what in the world? Like, and you know what I mean? So the project can never get done. I spend my time trying to convince people and, you know,
Totally.
uh, yeah, so they had this perception now automatically almost become the bad guy because it's like, yo, you don't understand the real situation. I have connections and opportunity, but even being trained, like I can't go to Nick and say, Nick, I got the script. Like,
Right.
like so does everybody else. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm gonna have to show him a sizzle reel, a trailer. I'm gonna have to
Right.
have casted it, or you know what I mean, have it already put in work because
Mm.
he's trained me in this work. So don't if I've trained you how to punch, don't throw no sloppy jab. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's really what it is. People forget that when you do have the opportunities, it's expected to be done more. Like, what I mean, it's
Mm.
expected to be better on a higher level. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Yeah, so
Totally.
it's almost harder when you're connected to these people. But like I said, when you do have that right team, when those right people do come together, you can walk those ideas in. And it's about building those teams, those loyal people that kind of, I know I'm everywhere, sorry.
No, I love it. And it's so true. I mean, I remember like I've done my research on you. You'll see in this interview, but I saw that's all good stuff. It's all good. I read that you said that you have to like almost overly like humble yourself because people are like if you're about to say something and they disagree, they're like, "Oh, Nick Cannon's brother said blah blah blah." It's like, "No, no, no, we're different people." Like, so it comes with all that and people don't of course there's an immense amount of privilege with it, but there's also
Mhm.
all that garbage that's attached.
Right. It's double-edged sword for
Yeah,
real.
thousands.
That even me, people like you, and even being in the house, it was a unique opportunity for people to. You don't have to explain it. It's like when they talk, it's like, yo, you get it. Like, yeah, like So yeah,
A
it's definitely
thousand
a privilege.
percent. It's a small club, but that's one thing that I'm so grateful for with the show. Like, you just realize you're not insane. You're like, oh wow, like this stuff I go through day to day. You have your best friends, you love them, but there's some things only certain people get. So anytime you feel crazy, hit me up. I will tell you that you're not
Would
crazy.
you go on the show? I mean, you
I
might need to chill out a little bit. Season 3 they casting. You know what I'm saying? I won't tell nobody Draymond Green sent there on the. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should go on the show.
So you know what's so funny? My friends have asked me for a while. They're like, "What you go on? You go on?" I wouldn't. And never say never. You never know God's plan for you. But the reason
Right.
I don't think I would is because, like I said, I love reality TV. And something I noticed, I feel like 90% of people, I think you're in the 10%, like you did it very well. But 90% of people end up pigeonholing themselves into just
Right.
that one show. And then they come
Right.
out and it's like The Circle, for example on Netflix. Everybody from the circle is just so and so from the circle, so and so from the circle, so and so from Love Island. It's like,
Right.
I'm Jordan. I want to be all this. Like, Gabriel, you are like, you're doing all that. And I remember you said you want to come out the show and hit the ground running. I just would be
Right.
so fearful that I would mess something up and just always be Jordan from season 3 Claim to Fame. So I don't think so.
That's one of my fears now. I mean, even because you come out of the sibling shadow. That's already
Right.
a quote unquote shadow, and then it's like, and that was one of my questions going on the show. Do I throw myself, because I can't typecast myself, Jaleel White, Steve Urkel style, like, and now I'm just this brother and reality show guy.
Right.
That's where the urgency is kind of coming from now. Like, yo, since people are watching, let me show you all of these tools. I've been sharpening since a little kid, baby.
Come
Like,
on.
so yeah,
What
but
is
no,
it?
that's definitely
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
preach on it.
Yeah.
Preach on it.
Exactly. No, but I think you did it so well because you showed personality and you showed character. The problem is reality TV exposing people for being dry. So all they have is the show. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like you're gonna be fine, and God's got you. You're gonna be totally fine. But okay, another question about claim to fame. So, well, this is also about God. We're gonna transition a little bit. So claim to fame is all about like hiding your identity, and like you mentioned, like having these panic attacks, like, oh my gosh, like my world is out there. And I remember seeing you say that you opened your Bible one night and you saw pictures of your kids, and it like
Wow.
brought you back. It like grounded you. You're like, okay, like this is me, like this is who I am. So how does Christianity and maybe just being a Jesus follower, however you identify yourself, and like your kids and all that, how does that play a role into who you are today?
Everything. I'm nailed to it. Those three nails, man. Because I don't know how far you did your research. Because if you dig a little bit further back in my Def Jam days, I was a mess. Still am a mess. Without God, I'm
We're
a
all a
mess. Like,
mess.
yeah, like, to be 100, we're in this body of flesh, and but to have that standard to always lining myself up to, lining other people up to, that line of truth, even in this world today where truth is there. You got your own truth. Everybody got their own truth, and it's
Right.
like, yo, man, that's confusion. So to have something to stand on, for me, it's bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been tried through centuries. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a gift. The gospel is a gift for me. But even in the house, a lot of people ask like, yo, what did you do to prepare to go in the house? And it's like, I couldn't Google a bunch of, all right, Michael Jackson's relatives, and you know what I mean. There's endless people, you know what I mean, that I would start on, and it would just be the striving thing for me almost. And
Yeah.
so my thing was, I don't know if you've seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire, how it was already in him.
Right.
Everything,
Already there.
yeah, that to the questions, it was already in him. So for me, it was like even how I got the phone call, like I'm serving on the front line in the community. Like you see me in the office now, like we, trying to build these community centers, these youth
Right.
empowerment centers. So for me, it's like y'all gonna shine the light. I'm gonna shine it on these kids. But so
Right.
house, it was like, you know, what do I do to prepare? And so it's like, man, I feel God was literally telling me it's in you already. If whatever celebrity you've seen him, you already lost. I took you through a specific journey. So for me, if God was bringing me here, you've already walked me through the streets I've needed to conquer this. You know what I'm
Woo.
saying? So whether I needed a Dolly Parton or, and that's how I literally got the JB Smooth. I literally was I did a freestyle battle when I was like 17 against a puppet, for Nick, one of Nick's sketch comedy shows. But JB Smooth was the voice of the puppet. So I'm freestyle battling this puppet. And, when I'm 17, you know what I'm saying? And he's already walked me through. And so everything JB Smooth did, except for the Curb Your Enthusiasm, I
Right.
kind of always paid attention to because it's JB Smooth. I
Right.
felt important. I did a skit with JB Smooth, and, even my love for the Jackson Five when it came to Donny Osmond. That's where that name came from because I love the Jackson so much. We used to film the Jackson movie off of the TV with my dad's video camera. And, you can hear our commentary all in the background. But I
Wow.
remember that Donnie and Michael, they said, Donnie and Michael were supposed to be rivals. And that's how I knew of Donny Osmond. And, I
Wow.
really felt that like, man, he's already walked me. There's no studying I could do. It's already in me. And,
Mm.
even those times I'm praying like God, even that hate challenge, like, if you see, which was a blessing, like none of my teammates found that last piece for me. Like,
Right.
I'm praying God lead me to it, show me to it, because if somebody else found it to me, they could say it was me that helped Gabe win. It was, you know what I mean? Somebody else would have got the credit if God didn't lead me to finding that last clue in the haystack. And now he only can get the glory. You know what I'm saying? So it was that. Like, if people don't realize, there was actually 13 people on that cast. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Okay,
God,
period.
I'm
You
telling you.
plus three, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I love that. I
I'm telling you.
love that. I feel like that's a word. Like, it really does speak to, like, there's things we're going through right now, like in our journey, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Or, like, everybody thinks everything's a coincidence. It's like there is literally no such thing as a coincidence. There's no such
Right.
thing, because it's all
Right.
leading you to a moment. So I'm so happy for you that you got to have that. Okay,
Man,
period.
it just set my faith on fire. Honestly, my thing is like, man, you done gave me the victory on national TV. Like, man, what else? What's next? Like,
Right.
we talk more, like, just to understand the phrase "more than conquerors." More like, oh, like, to understand, he prepares a table for me in the presence of
Of
my
my
enemies,
enemies.
and I
Come on.
stand on a pedestal with everybody who wanted the same. Like, it's like, oh, that's what you mean. Hallelujah.
Wow. You couldn't even write it better if you tried.
I couldn't then present it for the world. It's just like, why you choose little black ashy me? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
He said, I'll use anybody. Okay.
For real. For
I
real.
love that so much. Well, this actually brings me perfectly into, I want to talk about, like, how you grew up in, like, childhood. So I find your story really interesting. So y'all, just, you obviously know this because you're the one that told the world this, but so our viewers understand. So you were the middle child of 5 boys,
Mhm.
grew up in
Yes.
church. Nick blew up, and you said that you used to idolize Nick. Like, you, like, wanted to talk the way he talked, like dress the way he dressed, like all the things, right? Because it's so cool. Like, it's amazing. Like,
Right.
but I think that that, like, idolization, it's, like, cool until it's not. And especially as a kid,
Right.
like, I relate to this, like, growing up, like, it comes with, like, a lot of emptiness. I guess,
Right.
can you speak to what your headspace was in this moment, like what that did to your mental health, having your identity almost eclipsed in a way, not on purpose by Nick, obviously he's doing his thing, but just mentally.
Right. Right. I mean, it wasn't a noticeable just he's my idol. It was, number one, it was a natural older brother thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
you see in the movie American Gangster, like whatever Frank Lucas would have done, his brothers would have
Right.
done. If he would have been a mechanic, like, there's a natural wanting to be like your older sibling anyway. You know what I mean? We got footage for years. If Nick leaned like this, you'll see all his little brothers start leaning like this. And you know what I mean? It's just, because we grew up with Nick on TV. My dad
Right.
would go to California and, record Nick and, hey, say what's up to your brothers, and come back to North Carolina until Nick moved to North Carolina at 12. So we would send messages through the TV anyway before fame, like, so we always knew him from TV, like,
Right.
and so just wanting to be like him was a natural thing. But then to see what my dad cultivated from that big old camera, he actually listened and believed, and now he's on TV with Keenan and Kel. Of course, it exaggerated the one, you know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
everything he wanted to do was cool. The way Nick talk, his speech patterns, the way he wear his clothes. We're his little brothers because he's sending these clothes in boxes back to
Right.
us in North Carolina anyway, and so that alone made us more important in the school. You know what I mean? Just because we dress
Right.
different, we getting drip from California. We in the country, baby. Like,
Right.
you know, and so that'll give you an admiration and appreciation. It can be dangerous. It can lead, when you take one of the youngest and lead them up, that person is in control now. That person can now pay some people car notes and, house bills, and
Okay.
it might rearrange some of the leadership position. But for us as his little brothers, he was everything. If you talk, I remember I used to work at Ralph's. Somebody said something about Nick Cannon. They had to meet me in the parking lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Like, yeah, I don't care Nickelodeon nothing. I'm a drum upside your head. Like, that's and it was a protection. Whether it was the Eminem, like, he hosting BET Awards, like, man, stand right here. If somebody crossed this line, you know what to do.
Right.
I'm yelling you out. So it was a loyalty, it was an allegiance, it was and it almost overshadowed, so you're not looking at who you are, what's your gifts, and like I said, I have a fast forward experience in entertainment just by being on the front line, watching, holding this video camera, recording everything he's doing, watching Kevin Hart's comedic timing, and you know what I'm saying, the Cat Williams, and you know when they're rehearsing and working these things out, I'm recording it, you know, and I got to go back and watch the tapes, and you know what I mean. So I got a sharpening that I, you know, which is one edge of the sword that you can never, you know, pay for. But then it's like you lose your identity because I don't look like a Nick Cannon. You know, I see, you know, if somebody comes and say, hey, Nick Cannon's brother's coming, and then I walk in the room, I see people like, you sure? Like, you know, they're like, I don't know if that's Nick Cannon, brother. That might be Wesley Snipes, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's like, I see that. And, you know, even from a kid, you know, he's on Nickelodeon his whole life. So the 12-year-old me is like, okay, I don't look like him. I gotta be funny. I gotta, you know what I mean, put on these other characteristics to identify with this guy. Because if I'm not standing beside him, and we weren't the type, that's when you don't have too many pictures, because we're not the type to go, hey, Nick, let's get a picture. We're the guy who's, when he's moving, it's like, hey, I'll grab your camera, I'll take the picture for you. Because you know, it's like we know where he's on his way to, so we're trying to help his path be smoother. So
totally,
you know, people don't understand it, but and so yeah, it becomes not my identity or me searching and figuring out my identity. It becomes me putting on a mask to identify with someone else. You know what I mean? And when I came to a point of realizing, like, yo, that's an idol. Like, I don't care who it is. If you putting on bandanas because you want to be like Tupac and you really embodying, you know, who this person, you might end up idolizing this person, and this becoming an idol in your life. You know, it could be with drinking or, you know, smoking, like, you know, there's things in it. But once you're dependent on these identities of thoughts, like, yo, man, now it's an idol in your life. So, you know, when I seen that, I had to step back and couldn't really see that, yo, it's your brother has become your idol. Like, you know, even the idea of success has become an idol, the idea of what success is. And, you know, so I stepped back, you know, I was signed to Def Jam for years, about 2 years. We toured with Mariah, you know what I mean? And so now this rapper identity, what does it have to be? I was in an R&B group, you know what I mean? We're touring the world. We got a song called Sorry Apology, but I'm the rapper in the group. So most of the time, I'm back here lip syncing. I watch some of that footage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I rap. Like, so, you know, that's the track. So, you know, but that breeds insecurities. Like, you know what I mean? That breeds me, you know, because my younger brother was the lead singer of the group. That breeds me going in harder on him. You know, look like, man, like, you got to go hard in rehearsal because Monique might realize that I ain't singing. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, so now I put on this extra energy thing, you know what I mean? Which you kind of see remnants of, to where it's like when I walk on the stage, I'm not the one singing these hooks, but I gotta be unforgettable. That's why, you know, I'll jump off the stage. I'll give you this ball of energy that you gotta remember, because I ain't got no lyrics on this song. Okay. You know, so, you know, just this idea kind of became, who am I supposed to be in Hollywood? Where do I fit? Supposed to be a little Nick Cannon, a little Ray J-ish, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's not you.
And so I just left him with the Bible. God just really started closing doors, you know, and just started, you know, to where it's like, yo, I had to fully surrender, and to understand what that was, I didn't know. You know, I called one of my other brothers who left Hollywood, like, how do I surrender? And he's like, that is surrender, to admitting that you don't know how, to admitting that you can't do nothing on your own or for yourself. That's fully dependent on God. Like, you know what I mean? And so to start understanding those concepts we always knew. Like, I mean, I grew up in the church, but to now be able to parallel them with my life, the same way I could do now with scriptures and the claim to fame, you know, it becomes real, it becomes mine, it becomes my testimony, you know. And so God had to walk me through those journeys and through those seasons to, you know, honestly find out the gems in myself, you know, and even with claim to fame, to watch myself back for 10 episodes and be like,
did you watch every episode back?
Of course. More than once. Like, you know, because I'm used to pointing that camera at somebody else. And like I said, I have my moments in it. but to just freely watching, like, oh, I didn't even realize I made those faces, or
Right, right.
the best time is to critique yourself, and it's like, I'll never make that face again, or
I'll never say that again.
right. So it's just like, to realize, like, yo, man, God has given me some unique things, and to know it, but then to see it, then to see feedback and to hear other people is like, God, I just want to be your vessel. Let me be used. But I think I'm back on this entertainment train, baby. I
Okay.
know I talk a lot. Sorry.
No, I'm literally loving this, and you're just literally hitting every single one of my points. So I'm here for it. I really just want to go back to really quickly what you said about like redefining success, redefining identity, redefining surrender, all these things. Like, I mean, maybe to an external eye, you had it all, right? You're like families doing Wild 'N Out, like touring with Mariah Carey. You had the deal, like you hang out with supermodels. You're doing it all, right? To them, but there's that emptiness, and there's that like, ooh, there's something missing, right? And it's like, we know what that missing piece is. There's a God-sized hole. You can't stuff a record deal into a God-sized hole. It's always going to be too big. But just hearing you explain all that is so good, and it just reminds me that there's no such thing as like a point of arrival, right? Like, it's always about the journey. It's always about, like, you're never going to be, oh, I'll be happy, I'll have peace when I hit this record deal, when I hit this $10 million. That will never exist if you're not surrendered, period.
Right. Striving, chasing for the win, because the more you get, the more you see. Like, what I'm saying? You get to the Nick Cannon level, you see Jay-Z closer. Like, now I want to get to that. And it's like, it'll never, and it's somebody that Jay-Z's looking at, like, man, I'm trying to get to that. And it's like, it's never, you're never satisfied.
So true. And that's a dangerous place to be, 1,000%. Well, okay, I want to highlight some more of your accomplishments, because you're doing a lot. You have your own great music career yourself. You're doing stuff in the community. First, let's talk about your music. So how does music serve as like an outlet for you? Like, what does it do to your soul?
It's confirmation that God can work through me. For me, it's, music is spiritual, man. Like, like I said, I was signed to Def Jam. We did a song called Cakes with Fabulous, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I always was the type to, when I was writing stuff, I would have to scratch it out. Oh, I can't say that. People not gonna like that, because and I was never really expressing my truth, but anytime I was able, the first song I ever wrote that I was fully writing from my heart was a song called Tug of War. And it was really just about God on the left, the devil on the right, both of them pulling,
Right.
With everybody I feel struggle. And when that came out of me, I felt like, yo, that wasn't me. That was me being used to express somebody else's thought. And then I started thinking about how scripture was written. Like, they say it was inspired, you know what I mean? So, it kind of brought, made me feel like a disciple a little bit.
Okay, come on. Like, Prophet Gabriel.
Right, to express his points and his thoughts and ideas the same way he used the disciple. Like, I want to be used that more. And I could tell when I'm surrendered with the pen even.
Wow.
So for me, it's to sit back and realize what God did in me and what God is trying to say. Because I learned through the stuff I write. I learned about myself. Like, write, like, people journal, you know what I mean? To get their own thoughts out, to understand what's going on inside of them. We're so complicated, but, for me, it's the same thing, to even just self-awareness, self-identifying. Where am I at right now? How do I feel about this relationship? How do I feel about the homies? Man, get all in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, you be in the moments to where it's like writing will express what's going on inside. So it's a spiritual thing.
I love that. I love that. Sometimes I do realize, like, I was talking to my therapist last week. She's like, how are you? And it took me like 5 minutes to answer. And she was like, okay, I have a feeling that this is like pent up. You need to write about it and reflect, because it forces you to be like, how actually do I feel in this moment? What's been going on? Like, it's the only way a lot of people can process. So I love that.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
I don't do it enough, but I gotta do it more.
I know. It's like, you have to prioritize it, I guess. And I have not. Like, it's literally a reminder on my phone every night. It's like, journal. I'm like, delete. But when I do actually, when I actually sit down and do it, I feel better. So I just need to prioritize it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm right there with you.
You also work in the community with youth, and you dig really deep into mentorship and like giveaways and all these things. I would love to hear more about this passion, like where it came from, what you're doing, all of that.
Man, it was given to me the same way, like my heroes my daddy gave me Martin Luther King, Jesus, and Bruce Lee. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the
Bruce
heroes.
Lee.
Right. So, and that was given to me. My dad was like one of the only dads in the neighborhood, so he always had a youth organization. He called them High Achievers. One season it was called Drug Free Youth, and he had these two big white vans, and he would just take all the community kids. We would go door to door selling candy, door to door. I still remember my speech. Hi, my name is Gabriel Cannon with Drug Free Youth. I thought I remembered it, but I was like it was a goal for us to be the number one seller. You know what I mean? And because we were so focused, I'm looking back on being the number one seller. I was able to get over my fear of people unknowingly just knocking on doors, learning the term. It's a numbers game. If you knock on 10, you're possibly gonna get 2 sales. But if you knock on 100, you're gonna get, you know what I mean? And
right.
just understand that as a kid, it was given to us. But to see then my dad had 2 vans full of kids and they're going home helping their mom pay the light bill, and their mom might be strung out on drugs. And you know what I mean? So using this youth programming, my dad, we had a big old lake in our backyard. So, they was for sure at the house cutting the grass. He helped me all make all that money. But, we was hooping with all the neighborhood kids and in Charlotte, like it wasn't like the neighborhood right beside us. We all on Freedom Drive. We looking for young men outside. Like, for those to be my origins, I recently, like I said, when I left Hollywood, I went to Bible college. It's like I immediately didn't want to go back to Hollywood. It's like, I'm not strong enough because I know what's out there. And so because the path I wanted to walk, I wasn't ready to go back to Hollywood. So I went straight to the community and worked with this brother named Terrence Stone, Young Visionaries, 22 years in the business of outreach and giving back. And the beautiful thing is he was allowing me to take everything that, I've learned in Hollywood and use it as tools, for him to just give me the freedom. Like I'm teaching acting and improv classes in probation offices. You know what I'm saying? These kids don't get to go home, but I got them in there acting and improving, and one of them improving as a police officer, and the other one is acting like a kid who's being racially profiled, and you know what I'm saying? And the title is Who's Got the Power, and they got to figure out, does the cop have the power? What power? You know what I mean? It's just like to be able to use these tools to make learning fun again, number one. I mean, then we're competing with the cell phones, the computers, and all of these other things. So, he's able to let me just go in. We doing Wild conferences. We got some of the cast members from Wild and Out coming and just touching these people in the community, and just doing these conferences, but talking about the mental health things and, the entrepreneurships, teaching them how to put a logo on a shirt, and now you got your own business. And, anywhere, we could be creative. And the beautiful thing with Young Vision, just allow me to be creative because, if we go through these textbook ways of educating or equipping, we're in 2023 now, the technology is different, the world is different,
right.
And so to be innovative of how we're reaching these youth and these kids, that's really what we're doing. Like you said, we give away 10,000 turkeys every Thanksgiving, 15 every Christmas. And for me, it's to challenge the brands, to challenge these celebrities. Like, I have your buyers of tomorrow. We can, and I don't sound crazy, we can make sure your brand is in their face from childhood to adulthood. What I need you guys to do is to help me equip them. So when they are ready to buy stock in your company or whatever, I can have them financially ready with the know-how to bring more value to your company. So there's one hand wash the other, both hands wash the face concept to where I'm challenging every brand, the Mac to you. Like, I want to be the brand ambassador to the youth, like, to the communities, to the people, even workforce development programs to where we can prepare these people in these communities to be the best workers, to understand why you have these principles or creeds or whatever it is.
Right.
But we need equipping, you know what I mean? And
right.
so that's even with the winnings for the from Claim to Fame. I want to put it in the community. I want to put it as seed money. Like, I put the first seed down. Where everybody else at?
It gotta be watered. It's gotta be watered.
It gotta be watered. Somebody bring the water, the dirt, the sunlight. I ain't had as many gigs as y'all. I just did one TV show. That's some of y'all got seasoned regulars.
Okay.
Y'all can put some of that bread to these youth of tomorrow, man. We outside.
It's literally like when celebrities are like fundraising and they like ask us for help. It's like, I'll help, but all you gotta do is call up your friends. You call 5 friends,
Right,
you're gonna hit the $1 million goal in
right.
10 seconds.
Right.
What?
You won't even gotta ask, just come to us with the plan. And that's what I'm
Right.
saying. That's with the plan, like the Motivational Institute Powerhouse. If they come down in the IE where we at, they can see we already doing it. You know what I mean? God
Wow.
is just bringing us seed money to continue doing what we're doing. So, man, on the
Wow.
front line, any celebrities, anybody out, y'all, this holiday, I challenge anybody. I got give backs for this holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas sold up. It's gonna be thousands of kids there. If y'all want to come and just get Instagram pics, just pull up, show
Period.
these people love. We outside.
Y'all heard it here first. And shout out the name one more time and where you're at.
Young Visionaries. We out in the Inland Empire. Young Visionaries. Yeah, just put Young Visionaries. You put my name in, Terrence Stone. You'll find us.
And we'll link everything and we'll include everything. That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. And it really just reminds me of like God using pain and to fuel you into purpose. Like that is literally what this is. And so that's very, very inspiring to me. I love it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yay. Okay. Well, I have a couple more questions for you. So, one, I couldn't let you leave without asking this. So, your brother Nick is in the news a lot. Relatable. So we can relate on this.
Right.
So you see, like Twitter is restless, and you see people joking about his kids, all the things. And I saw you jokingly say, like, you use Google to remember the names
Right.
of all Nick's kids. Do y'all like? Do you feel like your brothers and your family, y'all like poke fun? It's like a joking thing for y'all.
At, now, at one time, I wouldn't play about Nick, like, and he kind of had to help me understand, like, man,
Right.
it's entertainment, man, like, but to see that he's not bothered by it, like, you know what I mean? Like, man, to see over and over is like, I appreciate you ready to war for me, but it don't, but like you're warring for no reason. It don't bother me. So to see, then to see somebody who's like, Nick just did a video where I want to spend time with my kids. He come pick the baby up and put the baby down. it's like, man, you gonna joke about it. Hey, hey, don't say nothing to me. And so when you
Just
see
saw
how
that
yeah, but he don't play about his kids though. You
at
know what I'm
all,
saying? Like,
right?
father. So it's like he'll joke, but you see, he's not even the same Nick Cannon when his kids are around that we've been used to the last 20 years. Like, I mean,
Mm,
his head is more on the swivel. He's more like,
right.
I mean, he's more, and everybody too, rightfully too. When his kids are around, he's still gonna give everybody an autograph. He's still that guy, but
Um,
he's definitely way more, aware for sure.
in tune. Okay, so looking forward, like you have clearly a very bright future. You could go in a million different directions and be successful in all of them. I saw one thing that you want to do more of is hosting. Like you told Nick, pass the torch, like, what's up? So
Right.
I know you also like are a musician. So can you give us a sneak peek? Like what's coming next? What should we be on the lookout for?
Man, I got it's a lot. Like you said, it's a lot. I got an album I'm working on. I'll call it a project called
Wow.
Victory. Like, it's called Victory. Of course, because
I
of the
wonder
victory.
why.
Yeah, right. But also because of the confirmation of the victory that we have in Christ, to be 100. And to be fearless and to be bold and to be, you know what I mean, unapologetically in love with God and also need help from God. Like, that's
Okay.
why I love him, because as much as he shows me how good of a God he is, especially through my imperfections, to continue to love me, to continue to rock with me, to literally, though I'm so hard headed, man, you literally let me win in front of all them people. Like, come on, man, I gotta serve you. I gotta give it up. I gotta worship you. You know what I'm saying?
I love
And
that.
and how much more will I bow to his obedience when I see, it's like a child. How much more when you see he's gonna shed his love on you, to that
Mm.
kid is just so proud. Like, that's my dad. I love him. Like,
Mm.
so Victory album is coming for sure. I also got a comic book, man. It's crazy. I got a comic book coming called Gorilla Gas Crew, GGC, Gorilla Gas Crew. It's crazy. It's about this gorilla. His name was Abraham, but he was getting experimented on. And you know what I mean? He was in this crazy, it's a futuristic comic book. He was in this crazy neon circus, and the kids in the circus, he's this overly grown gorilla. They've been injecting him with this stuff that's making glow. It's crazy. Gorilla Gas Crew. The kids come in, they punch him in the face, and if you can knock him out, you win a prize. And he's just been abused. He's just been abused. And he ended up escaping the circus. His name is Abraham, and he finds these scriptures, and he's trying to find where the scripture that was talking about Abraham come from. And it's his journey to actually realizing it's a part of this biblical text, but he's an animal. So he sees this gas line, it grows up. And so they got to wear gas masks, but it's his warehouse, right? And so God leads these other animals to these little rabbits, these little who have been through struggle, and they built this crew, almost like the Looney Tunes, but it's this, they gotta wear gas masks because their warehouse is a gas station, but they all have been sent by God to give the humans a message. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay.
It's crazy.
How did you get this idea? Like, this feels like something you woke up with, like, in a dream. Like, what? This is amazing.
It be God, he'll give you a piece, and it's like, God, why they hitting the monkey like that? They hitting the monkey because the monkey been through hit like you. And it's like God is just start unfolding stuff. For real. For real. For real. You start unpacking stuff. It's like, oh, write that down. For real.
I know your notes app is something only you can understand.
Oh, it's crazy. And I hate when I lose my phone because it's crazy.
What? Wow. Okay. So are you writing? Are you like doing the comics as well? You'll have a team?
No, like, the machine, the Nick Cannon machine, being I learned the term Nepo baby, there's a machine you could tap into, but to find your own way, to find your own team, because they got a lot to deal with over there.
Right.
It's really where we at, man. It's just like, yo, who want to get down? Let's work, let's build. So I need illustrators. I got the stories and everything, but I want the gorilla Abraham. He got to have some type of scar, or like he got to been.
I can tell you have a vision for what Abraham needs to look like. I can see the vision.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, please keep me updated on that. We're gonna all be very locked in. I guess last question. So, Do I Know You is all about reclaiming our identity, like just reclaiming what's ours and stripping down the mess and like who are we at our core, right? And you've had a lot of experience with this, as we discussed this whole time, taking charge of your identity with like claim to fame, your come to Jesus moment, like all those things, right? So I guess for our viewers, what advice would you give them on how they can do this as well?
Man, I think if you guys go back and watch Claim to Fame, every episode, which you'll see that God literally used me every episode to show people that if you trust me, I will give you the victory. I don't care what it is. I don't care what that mountain is. My mountain was 12 celebrity relatives who knew more than me, who was probably more equipped than me. The cameras was rolling, so if I pulled it too loud, it was gonna be like, like it's gonna be embarrassing, man. So like, that was my mountain. You know what I'm saying? But I had to trust him. You know what I mean? I got in an argument with Donnie Osmond's son on live TV, and I felt in that moment he had the upper hand. Like, you know what I mean? And I had to literally tell him it's not about strategy. And I was mad, like, but my faith is in God, even though I knew he probably had my number. And I had to be bold enough, even though I knew the cameras was rolling. I couldn't have said it in my head. I had to declare it. I had to let it ring off, and I had to take the risk of it falling back in my face. Oh yeah, that's the little boy who called on Jesus and he didn't help him, huh?
Okay, Daniel.
I had to be willing to take the risk, like for real. Like,
it's true.
And to stand on that. And it's like, man, he prepared the table for me in the presence of my enemy. So if we trust him, I don't care what your mountain is, he's gonna give you the victory. I promise. I'm living proof of it.
Gabriel, you're preaching right now. Wait, I have two questions after that. One, were the cameras rolling 24/7? Like, were there like off hours?
No, there was cameras or so. Now there was cameramen who had off hours, but the bathrooms had cameras in it, so they didn't miss nothing. Like, yeah, like it was.
They said you're not getting by with nothing.
Yeah, and then the microphone, they said the mics are so sensitive they can hear your heartbeat. So it's like, you can't whisper and get away with it. Like,
they can tell when you're nervous to start speeding up, huh?
Absolutely.
Wow. So, and then when I forget her name, Tom Hanks's niece. She
Right.
storms out. She's talking
Right.
about Gabriel got it. He's dumb. He's stupid. Whatever. What's going through your mind? Could you hear her?
No, see, we couldn't hear it. We could hear that she stormed off. We could hear that she started screaming. She screamed. And so, they told us so we're just reacting. We kind of forgot the cameras. It's the first guest off, so we're still just getting used to the cameras being on us 24 hours. And, we're just reacting to her screaming. So I got some of my reactions to her screaming.
Gotcha.
But I didn't hear what she said until it aired, and I watched it with the rest of America. But me knowing the outcome, you know what I mean, knowing that like, yo, did she just throw me down? Like, you know what I mean?
Like, why am I involved?
Knowing that I won, it was like, it was just still, even at home, like, God, you still working. Like, you made her say that because you knew, like, I'm saying, you knew how ironic, like, I'm saying, to say that about the guy who won and it made the show. And it's like, his hand was in every moment of it.
I always say, like, if you're gonna swing, don't do it at God's children, because righteous revenge is something that nobody can touch. Like, it is so cool to see.
Hey, vengeance is mine, says the
Okay.
Lord.
Literally. Wow. Well, this was amazing. Like, I seriously loved meeting you so much, and you're just great. You're a light. And like, in all the comments on TikTok and on YouTube, everyone, I'm so happy Gabriel won. He's such a good guy. I could just see the Lord in him. Like, and that's what it's really all about. So thank you for coming on. You always have a friend in me, a place here. This was so great.
Same. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I love your platform. I'm watching every episode. Keep up the excellence. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll see y'all later. One of my favorite things about the show is when someone comes on and they match my energy. And I feel like Gabriel did just that. Like, are y'all not obsessed with him? Gabriel, thank you so much for coming on. I really don't have much to say after that. Like, I think everything could be perfectly summed up in what he just said. I think it is just so cool when you can see yourself in someone else's journey. And I think I'm in the part of his journey where it's just like, you do things when you're younger and you're like, wait, where is this leading? Like, for example, the puppet like rap battle for like JB Smoove and how it ended up giving him the answer for how he won claim to fame. Like, things like that, like, they don't make sense in the moment, but then you look down the line, you're like, oh, that's why God had me there. And I feel like that's where I am in my life right now. And so I just felt so hopeful and inspired and energized. I felt so energized in that interview. And so I cannot stress it enough. Like, trusting God over everything will always get you to where you want to be. And I think Gabriel's a prime example of that. And if you didn't pick that up in the interview, maybe you should go back and watch again. But this is an interview I really think that everyone should like take notes on. My mom, shout out to my mom. She takes notes every episode. But it's always inspiring hearing other people's story, because it shows us that like we can do it too, right? So thank you again, Gabriel. I'm so happy for you. I'm ready for the comic book. Like, I'm ready for all the projects to come, but I hope that inspired all of you. I'm super grateful that we're all here and sharing this moment. And so with that, I will see y'all very, very soon. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Mwah. Bye.
The cameras was rolling, so if I pulled it too loud, it was gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be embarrassing, man.